Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Thomas Jefferson High School Addition and Renovations Community Presentation. As I go through here, I'll introduce from VAI, we have Ulla Roos. From Corgan, we have Sanjita Karthnik. We have Susan Smith and Kelly Schulman. From CORE, who is our construction manager at risk for this project, we have Stephen Butler. We have Ryan Zisk from School Leadership. We have Scott Lane and Sherry Christian from DISD Operations also on board. And joining us, we have our trustee from District 1, Mr. Edwin Flores. Just some quick notes. Everybody is probably already aware there is a feed on Facebook as well as through the district's main page. If you have any questions, make sure you submit those to the chat, and those or the Google Notes page, and those will come over to me, and we can address those at the end of the presentation during the Q&A section. Quick notes, right now we are slated to begin operations on the site as of Tuesday the 26th. We'll begin with some construction and demolition inside the campus, inside the buildings. Not much will be happening on the exterior, but you will see new construction fencing going up, job site trailers on site, and just multiple small activities as we begin to ramp up for our construction process. All right, having said that, I'll turn it over to VAI and Corgan so they can begin the presentation. Ola, it appears that there's a problem with the sound.
Of course there is. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Ola Roos. I'm the project director at VI for the project here. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to come out and listen in. So the intent here is to show the project development from the start, right after the tornado, to where we are today, and how we've incorporated the input from community and stakeholders along the way. So we're going to have about a 15-20 minute presentation, and at the end there'll be an opportunity for feedback and questions. So what we're going to talk about today is the schedule, the site plan, how it's been developed, traffic considerations, construction, and overall school planning. So let's move on. Well, this is the existing school and assessment after the tornado. The portables were all damaged beyond salvaging. And the existing ROTC, culinary arts, and cafeteria got hit pretty hard and will be taken down. So if we move on to the next slide. Okay. So what you see in yellow is what we're retaining from the existing Thomas Jefferson auditorium, the classroom wings, the academic wing, and the blue is a new addition. We're adding an administration suite, a number of classrooms, new library, performing arts, additional athletic and physical ed, a proper competition gym, and we're enlarging the cafeteria and the culinary arts to be aligned with the current requirements, as well as their RTC. So we're renovating about 164,000 square feet of existing facilities and adding 133,700 square feet. Move next slide. So this slide kind of outlines the scope a little bit more detailed. So as you see, we're demolitioning some of the 1956 building, the cafeteria, kitchen, culinary, RTC, and the facility functions that were housed in portables, renovating classrooms, athletics, roofs, exterior windows, finishes, updates to the HVAC and auditorium. There's some renovations to the 2004 edition, and there is a fair amount of work on the site to bring it up to what's required. And we're converting part of the existing gym into practice gym, aux gym, and turning it into a weight room. We're converting the existing band hall into the youth and family services. And I'll talk a little bit more about the site here in a moment. So we can move on to the next slide. So here's the schedule. And we're right now at the 520 community meeting. We've had several meetings over the last 4 months. And we've taken the input from that. And that's what you're seeing in the drawings and documents we're showing today. We are in design and documentation mode. We're going to be moving into demolition of the existing facilities and site work here towards the end of the month. You're going to see a lot of site work happening in September. The vertical construction for the new schools and additions will start in January of next year. So the goal is to hit that end date of August 22. That's when we're opening the schools. Move to the next slide. So over the last few months, we've had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, a lot of input from various groups, and we've worked hard to fit everything onto the site with additional fields for the kids. So what you see in the dark blue is the existing Thomas Jefferson that will remain and be renovated. The light blue is addition. We got a competition gym, cafeteria, culinary arts, RTC, band, art, a new library, classrooms, and administration, and a brand new PK8 school for Walnut Hill. And in the next few slides, we're going to touch a little bit on the traffic thing, but traffic circulation. But right now, what we've done is we've relocated the ball fields towards Walnut Hill and Hedgeway Drive. We've managed to add a soccer field as well as a activity field west of Walnut Hill, and a practice field between the existing football and track field and the Walnut Hill PK8 school. So we've worked very hard to maximize the availability for fields on this site under circumstances. The tennis fields will remain north. They'll move towards the north of the softball field, and we've rearranged the parking somewhat, and I'll talk to that on the next slide. So one of the key issues with any school actually is traffic management, and we worked through this and looked at many different options. So this is what we come up with. We're going to replace the existing traffic light at Walnut Hill, midway between Gooding and Hedgeway, with a smart traffic light that can be programmed to work with the peak times of traffic. And the idea is that we bring most of the traffic onto the site where they can stack. For the high school, we're taking the traffic in from Hedgeway. The red arrows design parent traffic for drop-off. The blue is student traffic. So the student parking is located centered on the site. And the idea is that everyone comes in from Hedgeway, either park and enter school or drop off south of the parking lot, and then exit out on Walnut Hill. And the reverse is happening at pickup time. Everyone comes in from Hedgeway and exit out on Walnut Hill. This is to minimize traffic in the neighborhood. The purple arrows designate buses. Buses are coming in from Gooding and looping around, and there's a drop-off lane just north of the school where they can drop off, and at pickup time, that's a stacking space for the buses where they can hold for the kids until they get out of school. We can move on. Next slide. So I'm going to hand it over to Sangeeta at this point with Corgan to discuss the process of how we worked our way through over the last few months.
Thank you, Ola. My name is Sangeeta Karthik, and I'm with Corgan, and I'm going to walk you through how we envisioned the new TJ that's reimagined. We started with a series of meetings that involved all the stakeholders, the Dallas ISD leadership, parents, community members, and the big question we asked was, what do you see for the reimagined TJ High School? And we collected a lot of ideas, but then there were a few that resonated with the group. There were 4 big ideas that came about it. We heard that we wanted the new facility to be innovative, welcoming, safe, and functional. And we took these ideas to heart. Before we move on to the floor plans, just wanted to quickly orient everybody. On the site, again, Ola talked about the traffic patterns. So this is the Thomas Jefferson High School. We've got Walnut Hill Lane right here, and what is your existing entry. One of the key concepts for the new reimagined TJ is about connectedness. We wanted to make sure that the students had a seamless experience throughout the campus, no matter where in the building they were. So how did we do this? We wanted to go ahead and add the additions in such a way that they stitch the building together, and there's continuity within the flow of the traffic within the building. So we've got the fine arts areas that is nestled by the auditorium. The athletic areas are connected to the old athletic areas that will be repurposed. Like we talked about before, the dining, the culinary, the ROTC, and the CTE areas are going to be in the new addition. And more importantly, we envision the library as a node, a nucleus for the campus. And this is going to sit right in the center, stitching the campus so that the circulation throughout the building is continuous. We also wanted to make sure that the students are connected to learning and the building itself is connected to the community. And so we made the outdoor spaces very purposeful. We envisioned collaboration spaces throughout the building, some of them small, some of them large. The library itself is a huge collaboration space right in the heart of the school where students can learn, work, and interact with each other. The interior courtyards will be more of an outdoor learning, student courtyard type of spaces. And the community plaza is going to be the green space that's going to be between the gymnasium edition, the cafeteria edition. Looking into the floor plan, wanted to quickly walk you through the spaces. Again, reorienting everybody, Walnut Hill is on the bottom of the page. You've got the main entry over there, and you've got a new administration area that is going to stitch into some existing classrooms. What you see in green are the fine art spaces, the auditorium that's existing. Some of these fine art spaces you see in this corner are actually new. All of the athletic areas are on the top left. The cafeteria with after hours access for both the competition gym and the cafeteria from the community courtyard. Again, all of the classroom areas remain and will be stitched together with a new classroom wing front and center. On the second level, we have all of the existing classrooms. The key difference here being with the new library in the center, that connects it from the second level to the first level of the library. We wanted to make sure that the new additions were very thoughtful and respected the context. The auditorium picture that you see over to the screen left remains, and the new addition for the entry will happen very close to it. As part of all of the meetings that we had organized and the workshops we had conducted, one of the important things we wanted to make sure was we were all speaking the same visual language. So we had this exercise where we showed a series of pictures, trying to understand what community members, parents, Dallas ISD leadership, stakeholders, teachers really wanted to see in the new reimagined TJ. And these were some of the images that people gravitated towards. So what you see over here is the main entrance for the new TJ High School. What it does is it really respects the materiality of the existing building, complements it while adding warmth to it. So you have a new entry that's very clearly marked, welcoming, and is also safe because we are adding a new security vestibule. On the north side, you've got the two new additional spaces, the competition gym on one side and the cafeteria on the other. The community plaza we talked about serves as a student gathering space because it is where the buses drop off when the kids start and end their day. But when they have after-hour functions, this outdoor space can be used as a pre-function area. Again, going back to the concept of being connected to the community and being connected to the student learning experience. We also wanted to make sure that when we did this design, it was connected with the pre-K-8, which is going to be on the other side. So these are some sneak peeks of the pre-K-8 campus. We actually have a community meeting tomorrow where we'll be talking about it in depth. We just wanted you to take a look at the exterior of the building to show that this is a family of buildings and there is a common visual language that ties this entire campus together. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe for questions. Joe?
And Dika, could you go back to that last slide one more time so I can see it? Yeah, slide number 21. One more. Yeah, that one.
Okay. Any questions, Sandy?
No questions. I just was taking a peek, I can now see some of the elements in the drawing. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, we have question number 1 here. It says, will there be a link where we can look at the slides later and get an update on the progress? The answer to that one is yes. As pretty much as soon as this presentation is over, this slide presentation, as well as a list of the comments and responses, will be posted to the district website. You'll see the same location where you went to attend this meeting. There'll be a link there that'll give you access to this slide deck.
Joseph, I got on late. I apologize. I was on another meeting and jumped on, but you guys said, I think there's a meeting tomorrow. Is that correct? Did someone say that?
Yes, there is a community meeting for the Walnut Hill PK8 campus. Pretty much same concept as today's, except tomorrow's is strictly the PK8.
Okay, got it.
Campus. Yep. Yeah, both campuses have been running a similar or a parallel design process. Okay.
Well, I'll just say I love the design of both buildings. I think it's very cohesive and it's inspiring.
Yeah, the design team has done a great job putting all that together and making sure it's one language across the entire campus.
So again, Melody, I apologize, but did you guys speak to any of the questions that came out of the meeting that Sherry and I had with the community? And Sandy?
Not specifically. Because of where we are in design, we're still having discussions with how the campus is going to be run once it becomes operational. There are some items that we are looking at. I know we had spoken and received a lot of feedback from Jeffrey McWhorter. I believe he had sent us his information early on, and we are taking that amount of information into consideration as we go through in the design process. And I wanted to remind everybody that's online, if you go to the dallasisd.org/bond 2015 questions, it'll take you to a Google Notes page where you can submit your questions live. And if you're watching us on Facebook, you can submit your questions in the comment section and we'll receive them here.
Hi, Joe. We do have a question. Will there be a link where we can take a look at these slides later and get an update on any progress?
Yes, the district will be setting up a website for each one of the projects, Thomas Jefferson as well as the Walnut Hill PK8 campus, and everybody will be able to access those sites off the district's page and see progress and get updates continuously as we're moving forward through the project. And,
how likely do you think it is that these designs are going to stick? Like that these are the design?
As we're going through the project right now, the design process, we're doing what's called a value engineering session and making sure that what is being presented by the design team and what is looking at being built by our construction manager is actually the best value for the district. As we're going through the intent that the architects have right now, we don't see that there'll be a complete turnaround from where it's at. But as we're moving forward and trying to make sure we navigate the budget constraints that we might be looking at, these renderings that have been presented here are conceptual, but that is the goal, that we deliver something similar to what we've just seen.
Thank you.
So is this it for the agenda? Is it just question and answers at this point?
Yes. At this point, it is pretty much just question and answers for the public.
Okay, so the questions that you guys have, will you just post those, like the questions I sent you? Are you just gonna post those on the website and then answer them? Is that where we direct the community to go look at the answers for those? Or will you send those to me and have me send those back out?
All the questions we received today, either through Facebook or through the live feed now, they're being documented, and we'll provide a response to each one of those in writing, and then it'll be posted to the district's webpage.
I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones I sent you. Because those are community questions too that I specifically got from the community. I mean, I can post them on there if you want, but you already have them.
All right, let me find
Melody, this is Scott Lane. We'll post those questions and provide answers on the website.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Olaf, Sanjita, can we go back to the traffic flow slide?
Yes, Joe, just give me a minute.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people were interested in seeing how traffic was going to be flowing. All right. It looks like we've had a large amount of people join into the presentation late. Can we go ahead and go back a couple of slides and do a quick recap of the presentation for everybody that joined us late? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm hoping I'm live. and you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So, coming back after the tornado, there was an assessment of the existing Thomas Jefferson, and the assessment basically stated that everything portable was destroyed. So the portable classrooms, the weight room, the dance portable, as well as the ROTC and the cafeteria got hit pretty bad. So the red areas here are going to be demolished in the near future, starting towards the end of the month. The yellow areas are existing facility that will remain, but will be renovated. The blue is what was under construction right before the tornado happened. The green is the academic wing that was added in 2004, which is in pretty good shape and just needs minor upgrades or renovations. So if we move to the next one. So again, yellow is renovation of existing. Blue is new addition, and it's a combination of what was going on and additional square footage to meet the educational requirements. We got a new performing arts area, with new library, additional classrooms, new food service, and a competition gym with athletics. We're also adding a youth and family center to the southeast corner of the school. That was previously housed in a portable near Cary, but it'll get a more permanent home at TJ. We're gonna move to the next slide. This slide talks about some of the details of addition and renovation and demolition. So again, we're demoing the cafeteria, kitchen, ROTC, dance building, and weight room, as they were pretty badly damaged. Renovating the classroom wings, athletics, roofs, exterior windows, finishes, HVAC, and auditorium. The 2004 addition gets some renovation, and the site gets a fair amount of work, which I will touch on shortly. There's some conversion of the existing. Oh, yeah, we can move on. Schedule. So since the tornado, we've been pretty busy doing a lot of work with the district, assessing damage, doing some pre-design. At a board meeting in January to establish the what we're moving forward with, which is what we're in right now. We're about halfway through design and documentation. And we've done a number of community meetings to get feedback from stakeholders, students, parents, neighborhood. Right now, we're at the 520 TJ community meeting. We have another one tomorrow for the Walnut Hill PK8. The contractor is going to get on site and start demoing this month. The trailer is already there. Fencing is up. And then actual site construction and building construction will start September. Vertical construction will start in January. That's the actual new facilities. So until January, it'll be mainly site work preparation. I can move to the next slide. So this is the layout of the campus as we move forward. And we're maintaining the football field and the track on the northeast corner, but we're relocating the ball fields. We're adding a soccer field near the PK8 school. We're adding some playgrounds and activity fields, PK8 school. And you can see on the Thomas Jefferson piece, we are filling in quite a bit and adding the new competition gym, the arts, the cafeteria, and a new library and administration. If we move to the next slide, I'll touch on the traffic. So the intent here is that the traffic comes in, as far as parents and students come in from Hedgeway Drive. The blue lines indicate students and the red parent. So the intent is that all the traffic comes in from Hedgeway, south of the residential area. And the student parking is located in the center of the site. And then the parent drop off is adjacent to that parking, and everyone on site exits onto Walnut Hill Lane. The traffic light at Walnut Hill dates back to the 1940s and will be replaced with a smart light that can be programmed to time the traffic cycles accordingly to peak times of student traffic, both in the morning and at pickup time. The purple line and arrows indicate where the buses come in. They come in off Gooding, loop in from the north of the parking lot, and park in north of the high school and exit back out on Gooding. It also means that pickup time, they can stack up on site off the side roads while waiting for dismissal. Move to the next slide. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Sangeeta to talk about the process and the school itself.
Thank you, Ola. Good evening, everyone. We wanted to start off by saying that this process was not done in a vacuum. We started with a series of workshops and visioning sessions and meetings with the Dallas ISD leadership, stakeholders, parents, community members. And then the first question we asked everyone was, what do you want the reimagined TJ to be? And we got a series of responses, and the four that we want to highlight here are, we heard loud and clear that it needed to be innovative, functional, safe, and welcoming. And we took all those four concepts to heart when we started designing the campus. So before we dive into the details, just want to reorient everyone, though you're very familiar with the building. That's Walnut Hill on the south. You see your auditorium, and the main entry will nominally remain in the same location. To the northwest of the property is the new Pre-K8 project. So when we looked at the existing building, we wanted to have a seamless campus experience for the students. So that was our main goal, to be able to connect the campus internally so the kids can connect to learning, and then the building itself connects to the community. One of the things that we looked at was how can we infill these new additions in such a way that the circulation within the building is easy, so you don't have to leave the building if you don't choose to. The community connection we also talked about is in the Youth and Family Center, which is on the lower right side of the screen, which has a separate entry and access that'll be serving community members. And So how did we do these additions? So we basically stitched these additions into the existing campus. You've got the fine arts area that's nestled very close with the existing auditorium. Existing spaces will be repurposed and there'll be new fine arts spaces. The athletic portion is going to be mostly in the new addition, but the existing athletic areas will also be repurposed and renovated. The dining, the culinary, the CTE functions, along with the ROTC, will be in the new addition. And the library serves as a node or a nucleus for the campus, which is going to be your central collaboration space, which connects the campus throughout between the classrooms along with the area. So the campus concept again goes back to the students' connections to the learning experience, as well as the building's connections to the community. So we envisioned a community plaza, which is a large open space on the north side over there, which would be a pre-function area for your competition gym, for your cafeteria after hours. Also during the day, that's where the kids get dropped off by the bus. And so it could be a spillover space for students to hang out. The rest of the interior courtyards are partly or fully enclosed and will serve student functions. Internally, we envisioned these connection points, which would be collaboration spaces, some of them large, a couple of them small. The idea being that the library would be the central zone where the students can congregate to learn, to work, as well as to interact with each other. So this kind of translates into a floor plan, and I'm going to quickly walk you through the spaces. Again, the main entry is on the south. What you see in pink is the new administration, which stitches some of the existing classrooms. You've got the existing auditorium with some new fine arts and performing arts spaces. Some of the existing athletic areas are refurbished for athletic function, and you've got a large addition that has a new competition gym along with the necessary locker rooms. You've got the cafeteria, the culinary arts, ROTC, and the CTE spaces. All of the existing classrooms will be renovated. That's your new library connection that we just talked about. There's also a new bank of classrooms, the youth and family center with exterior access. What used to be the collegiate wing will undergo some minor renovations. So that is the first level. The second level largely has classrooms. The only difference being that with the library connection, there is an area that allows the kids to enter the library directly from the second floor to the first floor space. There is also a maker space and some collaboration spaces that would be added to the second level of the building. So when we looked at the exterior aesthetic, we wanted to be very thoughtful and respectful of what the existing TJ had to offer. And since the auditorium is going to remain and the new entry area nominally is in the same location, we made sure that the materiality and the lines of the building blended and complemented what was already there. Like we talked about, we had a series of workshops with different groups of people. We wanted to understand what everybody's visual preference was. So we showed a series of pictures. These are just a couple of pictures that a lot of people resonated to and they gravitated to. So we used some of these images as a springboard for the new design. And so that is your new TJ High School entry off Walnut Hill. What we did was the materiality complements what's already there. We've got some wood tones to add some warmth. The entry is clearly marked. It's welcoming. It's secure because we've added security vestibule. So this is what you see from the Walnut Hill sign. And on the north side of the building, both those areas that are connected by that large overhang over there are new. This is what we envision as the community plaza or the student plaza. This is where kids get dropped off first thing in the morning when they get to school by bus. This is also serves as a pre-function space when there are large events either in the cafeteria or the gym after hours. we wanted to give you a sneak peek to show you that when we designed this building, we wanted to be very thoughtful of what was going on in the entire campus. So this is the pre-K 8 facility, which is on the other side of the site. And like we talked about a few minutes ago, we've got an upcoming meeting tomorrow where we'll discuss the design in detail. But what we wanted to show over here was, again, the lines of the building, the aesthetic, the materiality complemented each other. The existing TJ was the inspiration for both the addition for TJ and the new pre-K 8. And with that, I'll turn it over to Joe.
There we go. Thank you, Sangeeta. Once again, I'll remind everybody online the website. It's www.dallasisd.org/bond 2015 questions. You can log in there and I'll get the questions here on screen and we'll address them. The forum for questions will remain open until noon tomorrow. So if you don't think of anything now, don't worry about it. You can always go back and add the question and we'll post a response. It typically takes us about 72 hours to process everything and get everything posted online. Having said that, I'd like to turn it over to our trustee, Mr. Edwin Flores, for any last minute comments, or to the principal from Thomas Jefferson, Ms. Sandy Massey.
Sandy, you want to go first, or it's up to you?
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to add except that I'm super excited about the opportunity to help collaborate on the design, and you guys have been so great to let me have input on the inner workings of the building as well. And I just really appreciate that. I'm just really excited about what's coming. So.
Great. So I'm just going to add very, very briefly. I mean, there are really two critical features of the building, right? One is the functionality, as Sandy was just commenting, what's going to happen inside the building. And also important is what's going to be happening outside the building, and that we are a good neighbor to our community. And I think that that's been very, very important from the very beginning. That's the reason for all the community engagement, to make sure that we get input from every interest group, because there are many, many interest groups that love TJ, the alumni, the current students, the future students, of course, the community that it sits in. So we want to be a good neighbor. They didn't go during the presentation into a lot of the details, but there are a lot of safety features that are being built into these two buildings, for very, very good reasons. The look and the requirements, we've been working very closely with Councilmember Gates in planning and zoning to make sure that all the materials that are going to be used and fencing and everything that surrounds the building, again, is going to be, we're going to be good neighbors. And then, of course, the traffic plan, which is always very, very important to, make sure we get all that traffic off of the side streets and onto Walnut Hill Lane, which is clearly a street that can handle it. And with the help of the smart light, we'll be able to take all that traffic. So I just want to thank the entire team. This is a great plan. I know they've listened. I know the Alumni Association had a lot of input. In particular, just to give an example, the door by the gym is very important to them. A lot of them have very fond memories of not just entering there, but getting pictures there. The staircase that's by the auditorium is also very important because a lot of photographs are taken there. So all of those are going to be taken into account and honored as part of this design. So those are just some examples of what's being designed into this building. So thank everybody for participating. Please do ask your questions. This is about being transparent and open. And so all those questions get posted in the Google Doc. All the answers get posted. And so we just want to thank you for participating, and we look forward to having a great building where kids can have fantastic learning. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Trustee Flores. Well, that wraps up our community presentation for today. Well, like Trustee Flores mentioned, please post your comments or your questions on the Google Notes page for the district. Once again, that website is the dallasisd.org/bond 2015 questions. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.